daughter is has an IED and IEP. Sorry.
That's okay.
And the teacher in charge of that always reached out to us. He was really great. We're so thankful for him, but we did not hear much from the teachers. We would hear from him
through the like your case manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel comfortable with that?
We did like that, but it was sometimes things had built up for so long and we weren't aware of the situations.
Porque van atrasadas en la tarea, no las entregan a tiempo. Y eso, que no las entregan a tiempo, o que no les entiende como cuando fue el primer año, también lo mismo, que no le entregaba a tiempo, que no entendía. Y ahorita, pues un caso que le pasó entrando a su año y después empezó a levantarse.
Okay.
Entonces.
Anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, so we moved here 2 years ago. So our oldest was a sophomore at the time.
Right.
And so right after we had registered her right away in August, then we got a couple phone calls from teachers about meeting before school started and just kind of getting her off on the right foot. And we also met with her counselor to kind of go over her schedule and make plans, and took us on a tour. So it was like right away from the start. Moving here as a sophomore can be kind of difficult, but it was really like people were reaching out and we felt really welcomed right away.
Bueno, de mis dos hijos que estuvieron en Verona, sí tuve una llamada de una maestra que yo le agradezco a ella porque ella es por mi hijo que ya estaba fallando, ya no estaba yendo a la escuela. Y tuve una comunicación que me avisó que también no se estudia en la escuela, pero ya le faltaba meses para graduarse y sí, fue bueno. Tuvo buena comunicación esa parte de la escuela y de la maestra.
Okay. ¿Y en el año pasado ha tenido alguien en la escuela le contactó sobre algo?
En el año, sí. Muy bueno. Por medio de mensajes.
Okay.
Por medio de mensajes que me avisaron que tengo otro hijo que no obedecía las reglas que era de la escuela. Entonces sí tuve como tres mensajes.
Okay.
Sí.
Y tú...
Pero no me llamaron, fueron a medio de mensajes.
¿Llamaron primero?
No llamaron, fueron mensajes, textos y del maestro y del intérprete.
Oh, okay, ya entiendo.
Okay. Can I say the subject?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. The immediate one that comes to my mind was an English teacher that has reached out to me via email over concerns. In the 2 years that he's been, is it just in high school?
Yep,
Okay.
just high school.
In the 2 years that he's been in high school, there have probably been about 3 teachers that have reached out to me. The one
Well, if it's a behavior problem, I guess I would want him to reach out to us because we can't help if we don't know what's going on.
¿Qué espera de ellos, de los maestros?
Que apoye más a los niños, bueno, a los adolescentes pues, que apoye más a los adolescentes en sus tareas si lo ven. Yo sé que les dejan la tarea como para 2 días o 3 días o una semana, pero si ellos pueden como decir que para 2 días tienen la tarea y ven que no les entrego, entonces llamar a los padres. Yo sé que son adolescentes ya, pero si son los adolescentes hay que andar atrás de ellos.
Y prefiere que se comuniquen antes de que se tarde. Okay,
porque es demasiado tarde cuando ya me llaman, ya es demasiado complicado para mí y para ellos que se estresan más porque no entienden las cosas. Entonces a mí me gustaría a mí que me llamaran. Si yo sé que a veces las tareas me quedan para una semana a veces, pero si lo pueden hacer si me pueden llamar en 2 días para esa fecha o mandarme un mensaje nada más, con que me manden mensaje está perfectamente.
I guess I would say like something that I would have hoped for. I mean, I know that they are, so she was 14, 15, and I understand like she needs to start becoming responsible and doing some of that stuff on her own. But
Right.
just knowing our expectations, and if there was something like she's on her phone or she's talking to her friends and that's like prohibiting her from doing her best, like those kind of things, I get like they can't call all the time, but if
Right.
it's continuing,
Mm-hmm.
like we would have loved a phone call so that because those conversations will happen at home, she would know that we completely support that teacher.
Right.
This is what you need to do. There will be consequences if that's not happening. So like just, she's not going to come home and tell us, oh, I didn't get all my participation points because I was talking or, So it's just, just kind of little check-ins maybe would be nice. I understand that's hard to do that for every teacher, but, just if knowing our expectations and they aren't working to the best of their ability,
Mm-hmm.
just maybe a check-in phone call, like, hey, here's what I'm seeing.
Gotcha. And I guess elaborate just a little bit more. What are your expectations of your students' teachers in terms of direct communication? Like,
Mhm.
ideally, like, how would you like for?
Yeah, so we've also gotten calls from the teachers where they're telling us like great things that the kids are doing in
Mhm.
class, or leadership type qualities that they're seeing, or how hard they've been working, and that's been awesome too.
Right.
Like we definitely want to reward our kids for doing great things as well. So that's
Mhm.
been nice. But also I think it's just important like to know our expectations as well, that we
Mhm.
hold our kids to high standards. So if they're noticing like, I know that she can do better than this, she's not putting forth her best effort, like those kind of things, we would love to just have a phone call or an
Gotcha.
email just saying, this is what I'm noticing, I know she can work harder, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
¿Cuáles son las expectativas suyas sobre la comunicación de los maestros hacia usted? En el mundo perfecto, ¿qué quisiera saber de los maestros?
¿Qué quisiera yo
Sobre
saber?
sus hijos?
Está bien que hubiese más comunicación, que la avisaran sobre los grados, el comportamiento.
Pues eso. Gracias, sobrina. Pues eso, lo que dice mi sobrina. Ella más
La-
comunicación y saber de los grados y el comportamiento.
¿Se siente que sabe lo suficiente de lo que están haciendo en la escuela?
No.
¿No?
No.
¿Qué más quisiera saber?
Es que yo estoy de burro.
Por ejemplo, yo estoy en unos programas como Seal by Literacy o Carlos está en HS.
Ajá.
Me gustaría que le llegara más información de eso o
Yes.
cosas así.
The one thing I could think that would be helpful that comes to mind immediately would be if they're noticing a pattern. Like Jarvis has had some issues turning in his homework.
Mhm.
So if they're noticing, it's been weeks or however long that he hasn't turned it in, it would be nice to reach out to me. I'm very well intentioned and I want to check Power School and try and keep on top of everything he's doing, but with work and life, it just doesn't always happen.
Right.
So I guess when they notice like it's getting, it's going downhill too much or it's becoming persistent, then that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
I am a little surprised sometimes by his grades and surprised that there's not communication prior to that, like getting an F on the report card, for example. But
Perfecto. ¿Cada cuánto está chequeando Power School usted?
Pero es que sale una cosa, después sale otra y después hace muchos cambios. Por eso yo digo que yo me doy cuenta en las tareas, porque si dicen ellos una semana y lo pueden hacer en 2, me dilata más a mí, para mí, porque ellos dicen, no, estoy a falta. Y es cuando faltan es porque ya es el otro día.
Y
not very often.
Okay.
I have it on my phone, so I get notifications.
Okay.
So I do often.
Okay.
Probably daily, for sure, a couple times a week, probably.
Yeah.
But if they are like tardy or anything like that, I get an instant notification.
Mhm.
So then it's like, where are you?
Yeah.
I'm sitting in class.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it's just whatever.
Yeah.
So
They've definitely told me before, like, keep checking my attendance because my mom is going
Yeah.
to Yeah.
So I get instant notifications, so that's nice.
Okay.
¿Cada cuánta o sabe cómo chequear el Power School, donde están las calificaciones y
Ellos-
asistencia?
No, bueno, decimos.
Ella no
No
abre
tengo
su
acceso.
cuenta,
Ajá.
pero nosotros le enseñamos de nuestra
Sí.
página.
Qué bien.
My husband does all the time. So my husband takes care of Drew's, and I'm trying to take care of our other son Ben's.
Uh-huh.
But it's really hard to get into Power School with 2 different IDs. He's going into 8th grade, and I still haven't been able to get into my other son's Power School.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe.
What kind of communication would you like in terms of email, phone, text messages, just mail?
Text messages, email, phone, any of that. Especially for behavioral. Just so that we can get him back in line, and for when he's on his phone excessively, you know, I understand that that's a huge challenge, and I'd love to send him to school without his phone, but then that also presents challenges, and it's just that double-edged sword.
Yep, you're absolutely right. In what situations, and I think you said behaviorally, can you think of any other situations where you'd like the teachers to contact you?
When his behavior changes, like all of a sudden he's doing his work and then he goes like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and he's not turning in his homework, to reach out to us. With the Power School, it's great, but it doesn't feel like it's always immediate or up to date. And then when we find out he's behind, we have him turn the stuff in, and of course, he's still grounded until it's updated on the Power School, and that's frustrating for him because he's turned it in and we don't know.
Llamadas.
Mensaje de texto.
Okay,
Y
perfecto.
si es muy urgente por algo, llamada, en cualquier momento.
Perfecto.
And just to clarify what I'm hearing you say, as far as the preferred method, will probably be a phone call
Yeah.
versus like a text
Well, I'm,
or email.
I mean, email and text are great. Like during the day, we can, you know, if we're at lunch or on our breaks or whatever, we can quickly read that and see it.
Right.
I honestly prefer any of them, but if it's something that I like, even an email initially, and then we might call to follow up or
Right.
something like that. But any of them
Okay.
are fine. Like during the day, probably email,
Okay.
but then after school, a phone call too.
Gotcha.
Me gustaría llamadas.
Okay.
Una vez o texto, no tengo correo. Por el texto o llamada sería mejor.
Y cada
Emails are great, except I recently switched positions, so it's hard to get on my email a lot. There's a lot of restrictions about how much we can use personal email. And I work in a cubicle, so talking on the phone isn't always convenient. Texting is probably best. Sometimes that's so impersonal, and I'm old school, so if a conversation or a meeting, I've actually, and I know you don't want to know like what we've initiated, but it's more helpful for me to meet with somebody face to face. So I've initiated face to face meetings. But as far as teachers reaching out, probably text message, at least to make the initial contact, and then
When's a good time to talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
that or plan a face to face meeting.
Great.
In the middle of our street, our house. In the middle of our house, it has a crowd. There's always something happening.
We've never had one visit. They can visit absolutely any time because anything more that they can help, I think raising kids is a community, and Drew's a great kid. I think I need more of a degree in psychology.
Personalmente, al menos allá en México, mis papás y casi todos mis maestros tenían una muy buena comunicación.
Ajá.
Y algunos mis papás tienen un negocio, iban al negocio, hablaban y
Ajá.
tenían una buena comunicación. Entonces cada vez que yo no estaba, al menos con un maestro, cuando yo no estaba llegando a las metas o expectativas que ellos esperaban de mí, le decían a mis papás. Entonces, por mí no hay problema conocer un poco más a fondo a los maestros, no solo de maestro-estudiante.
Ajá. Ujú. ¿También o cómo se sienta?
A mí me gustaría igual que vinieran así conocernos, a conocer a nuestra familia, porque siento que nos mostrarían mucha más importancia hacia nosotros y que les importamos mucho a ellos en cómo hacemos las cosas en la escuela o cómo
Ujú.
vamos en la escuela.
Gracias. Una pregunta.
No, we've never had a teacher come here. I would be fine with that. I think it might, like, I can see some parents, like, if it's unannounced, that might be a little, like,
right.
you know, put them on the wrong foot right away. But I'm totally, I would welcome a teacher. We actually, for our contact day last year with Raina, we met her AP teacher at the library. She had like drop-in hours, and I thought that was awesome because it's drop-in, so like you could meet with her. If she was meeting with someone, you could do other things in the library while you're waiting. So I liked that.
¿Había tenido una maestra visitar la casa anteriormente?
Sí, es la primera vez.
Okay.
Es la primera vez.
¿Y cómo sentiría teniendo alguien, un maestro o alguien que quiere visitarles a conocerles mejor?
Estaría mucho mejor.
Okay. ¿No le molesta?
No,
Okay, qué bien.
pues me gustaría para saber de ellos, que necesitan ayuda mis sobrinos. Bueno, ya no me quedan dos. Espero que...
¿Ha tenido un maestro o maestra visitar la casa?
Ahorita no.
Okay. ¿Y qué pensaría si llegara a visitarle a la casa, a hacer visita?
También estoy bien.
Okay.
I've never had a teacher visit the home, and I would be fine with that.
Okay.
Yo siempre, desde que hay escuela, quiero comunicación con los maestros, o los maestros, aunque yo sé que todos no hablan español, que me manden mensaje en inglés y yo lo puedo traducir en español, yo lo que yo quisiera, porque yo y a veces agarro como un mensaje para mandarle a ustedes, pero no, se me olvida como el correo electrónico de usted o del otro maestro. Entonces lo mismo que me gustaría a mí que no interesa de cuenta, o cada semana que me diga el maestro, pasó esto con su hijo, o eso. Aunque lo manden en inglés, yo lo puedo traducir. Perfecto. Yo lo que yo quisiera.
I can only imagine how difficult it probably is. So many students, and you know that you try to cater to everybody and try to tailor to everybody's needs and reach out when they need reaching out and extra pushes when they need extra pushes. I've been very happy with Verona School District up to this point.